This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency, the pips, the players, the hustlers, the people, the bustler, but everybody else in between. Let's do this thing. The Wicked Wednesday has begun. Get on the grid. We'll welcome Sirius XM Channel 159 momentarily. We got a full house on the program this evening. Brady Cannon steps up and in straight for the strip in Las Vegas, Nevada. Paul Bovey throws it down with us tonight. We've got the Reggie Redhead, Cam Stewart, Ian Cameron, a.k.a. Babano, old school colleague of ours from the HSR days. The Big E, Eric Cohen, kicks it with us tonight as well. So as I said, we got a full house on the program tonight. We got the Lakers and the Mavericks playing right now. This game started a little bit earlier than they normally do in Los Angeles. The Lakers are up 62-57 right now. They're laying 4.5. That's what they were laying before the basketball game started as well. The in-game total is now 229.5 in this game. Big news from the association today was the Toronto Raptors pulled the trigger on another blockbuster deal. They already traded OG Anunoby to the New York Knicks, of course. There was a lot of talk last night about Pascal Siakam potentially being traded to the Pacers, that it was close last night, and evidently the reports were true. It was close because the deal got done. And the Toronto Raptors got 3 first-round draft picks. They got Bruce Brown, who I'm expecting that they're going to flip and trade for more draft capital moving forward. They got Kira Lewis. They've been stockpiling players and draft picks over the last couple of weeks, the Raptors, and then they stepped up and absolutely murdered the Miami Heat tonight. So we'll get into the deal this evening. For the most part, people think the Pacers overpaid, except new school Raptor fan on Twitter who complains about everything all the time and think they're going to win the championship. And it's funny because Pascal Siakam never, ever really ever got the credit or respect that he deserved from Raptor Nation. And now they're all upset that they didn't get 12 first-round draft picks back for him. Shout out to everyone joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid Radio Networks. This is Sports Rage. I'm Morency. We got a full house on the show tonight. We'll get into the NFL playoffs. Wednesday night is always golf night. We got some golf picks. What's in Cam's bag? We'll see what one of the best golf cappers in the business, Brady Cannon, has in store. We've got a couple of events this week. The California swing begins with the American Express, and we're also playing in Dubai. And Rory does very well in Dubai. So we'll take a look at the two tournaments. I know Brady's focused more in on the American Express. The Ranger Red at Cam Stewart, no doubt, has about 72 plays. Actually, that's probably conservative when you combine the both of them. So the Lakers just went on a little bit of a run right now. It's 69-59 there. The USC Trojans are in action this evening, taking on the Arizona Wildcats. This number continues to climb. It was 19 earlier today. It's up to 20.5. Let's see if they've tipped off right now. They are tipping off like any minute here. This game to me, normally I'd be like, listen, give me a reason to take the underdog here. I really don't have one. Yeah, it's nice that Bronny James is on the USC Trojans. For the record, his player prop is 5.5. Like, if his name wasn't James, there would, like I said, his player prop is 5.5 points. LeBron's talking about how he's good enough to be playing on the Lakers right now. But Arizona are pretty good at murdering you. Like, you know what I mean? So, for me, it's like it's the favorite or nothing here. And I'm going to jump in on it. We'll take Arizona. We'll lay the points with Arizona and expect them to win by 26 or something like that. What are we going to get here? Minus 20 is minus 130 to get the man. That hook, that's a lot for that hook. You know what? Out of principle, I can't do that. I don't mind buying a half point here and there and stuff like that. But for pro sports, college, it's too erratic. So you know what? I'm not laying 25 cents to buy a half a point on 20.5. It's not like some massive key number here. We'll lay the 20.5 and we'll hope for the best with Arizona. Nevada and SDSU are coming up. Nevada let us down last week on the show. We took them, or a couple of nights. Yeah, it was last week. They hadn't lost at home and all that, and Boise State went in there and beat them. Now they're on the road in San Diego tonight against the Aztecs. The Aztecs are 6.5 point favorites in this game. The total is 139.5 right now. So there's no late hockey this evening, which is a little bit, confusing, frustrating. We had a canceled game in the National Hockey League tonight. We told you before, our boy Tommy in Master Control had tickets to Connor Bedard, Blackhawks, and Sabres. But without Connor Bedard, it just becomes a crap-ass Sabres and Blackhawks game in the middle of the season. That's like the most irrelevant game in the history of hockey. So we ended up giving the tickets away, and then the game ends up getting canceled tonight. So just one of those deals. Like, I don't know if you believe in a higher power or not, Tommy, but you weren't meant to be in the HSB Center, whatever the hell they call it now. Is that what it's called still? Marine Bank? Off the top of my head, what are they? It's the HSBC. Wasn't it like the Marine Bank or something once? That's the one thing that I'm not good at. Like, if you, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, like, all these new sponsor arenas and stuff. Except I know all the Canadian arena sponsors because they're all the same. It's all either the Rogers Center, Rogers Arena, Rogers Place. It's like, welcome to Rogers. It's like, yeah, which one? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know. Like, the arena, hell, like down the street from me. What's that one called? I think it's Rogers Arena, I think. I think it is. I think it's Rogers Arena. You got the Rogers Center. But what's the one in Edmonton called? Rogers Place? Rogers something? Right? Like I said, I kind of just tune that out. Like, what's the arena in Toronto called now? The Scotiabank Center? Yeah, as if. It's like changing from, like, Heinz Field in a ketchup bottle. Like, whatever, dude. Like, Accusure, I don't even know what the hell it is now. Acupuncture, something. You sort of just tune these things out after a while. It's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't care. Speaking of which, actually, they're going to just talk. I know we've got a lot of listeners in Chicago. The White Sox are building a new stadium. All this talk about the Bears leaving and stuff, but yeah, the White Sox are stepping up. Very interesting project. So we'll get into this. I guess it's at a part they call the 78 off of 16th, an undeveloped part of Chicago. There's a big plot of land there. Seems like there's very positive reviews from everybody in Chicago about this, about the location, and about the project and everything. So we'll get into that a little bit. We got some PWHL updates for you. Yeah, we did okay tonight. We won, we lost, the best of times, the worst of times type of deal. We'll get you up to date with the NFL weather, specifically in Detroit as the warm weather Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to Detroit. It can get pretty cold in Detroit at this time of the year, as they discussed today at the press conference. Man, last night we played the hockey announcer like having a heart attack when he nearly got hit by a puck. I feel bad for this lady today that asked if the Bucs are concerned about the cold weather in Detroit. This is Sports Rage.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev.
Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, we saw a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I
favorite.
don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They, stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but All they need is David Montgomery and Spearkids to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. Countdown to kickoff is on. There's a lot of stuff to break down. There's a lot of stuff going on and off the field. NBA took center stage today. Big blockbuster deal involving the Toronto Raptors and the Indiana Pacers. As it's an end of an era. The only remaining player left from the Raptors championship team in 2019 is now Chris Boucher. And I nearly broke down seeing Boucher, was seriously upset about Siakam being traded. I think he knows, he's coming up next. But, in which he basically said, listen, I've been here, and I've seen a lot of people come and go. And he said, this one hurts. They were best friends. Siakam's best friend on the team was Chris Boucher. Chris Boucher's best friend on the team was Pascal Siakam. They're not American, right? So there's different cliques in the NBA, and they were very, very tight. So Chris Boucher, I got rattled seeing Chris Boucher and thinking about the memories. But Raptors responded tonight. They smashed the Miami Heat, but we'll get back to that. We'll get everybody's thoughts on this. Eric Cohen's going to step up and in. We got the Rage Reddick, Camp Stewart, Babano's in the house. We got a full house tonight. Paul Bovey. Let's start off with Brady Cannon. We're going to get into some golf and NFL. Brady, always a pleasure. Good to see you, Brady.
Hey, good to be with you, Gabe and Cam. Another wicked Wednesday indeed on the eve of the West Coast swing getting started on the PGA Tour. And Cam, I don't know if you feel this way about the American Express, but for me, this is still my quote-unquote preseason. I really dive in next week at Torrey Pines, with the head-to-head matchups and the top 20s. I kind of use these first few weeks to just get a feel for things. And I'm glad I do with the American Express because this is really a complete crapshoot of a tournament. You've had 150-1 long shots, 300-1, 500. Andrew Landry, Hudson Swafford, Adam Long. Guys come out of the woodwork and win this thing. It finally normalized a little bit last year with John Rahm, but I think you kind of really have to go all over the board. I think it's 8 out of the last 12 winners here have been 55-1 or higher. So, that kind of tells you the randomness of this event.
And Gabe, it's been a crazy start to the season if we have two stories that people aren't really know if you're not in the golf or follow what's going on. Grayson Murray hit rock bottom. He was a guy that really basically he had a real problem. You know what I mean? He's checked himself into rehab. I'm never going to play golf again. He won a tournament last week in a 3-man playoff. I had Ben on, as you know, Brady, right, to lose that tournament with that 4-footer. And the week before it was Chris Kirk. And I was just thinking, it's wow, this sport with guys who basically at rock bottom. Kirk wins at 80-1. He gets his life back on track with his family. Grayson Murray comes out of nowhere at 300-1. and wins this tournament. So you're right. It's been kind of a crazy start to the year, and they're playing on 3 courses this week, Gabe. So should be very interesting at the American Express. But this is a pretty good field with Scheffler and a couple others there. Justin Thomas makes his return. So should be a good tournament. Your boy Schauffele plays really well here as well.
So why is that? And I'll throw it to you first, Brady, because you started it by bringing up the long shots win here. Cam just brought it up that they play on 3 different tracks here. Is it a Pete Dye thing? Is it that the courses aren't that challenging, that it even things out for them? Why is it that, is it because it's early in the season? Why is it that this tournament is sort of a wide open one?
I think that's all of the above there, Gabe. You've got 3 different designs here. La Quinta Country Club is the easiest of the 3. The next easiest is the Nicklaus Tournament course at PGA West, the Jack Nicklaus design. And then the toughest one is the Stadium course, Pete Dye. That each player will play each course once, and then a 54-hole cut on Saturday, and then they play the Stadium course again on Sunday. So the difference of golf courses, I think, is one reason. How easy they are, like you said, it's basically a birdie fest. You got to carry a hot putter, so that allows some randomness to creep into the equation. It's also a pro-am. So the first 3 days, these guys are playing with CEOs and celebrities and stuff like that, playing 6-hour rounds.
Throws them off a bit, some people, huh?
Yeah. I mean, the guys
it's almost
that are
better
out
for
there,
the hacks, right, Brady? Like, if you're Scotty Scheffler, like, you're 5-1. You're like, I don't need this guy from GE telling me how to play golf.
Slow
I'm going to
me
help
down.
him with this.
I would not be impressed.
No, you'd be the worst, Morency. It's like, what company are you from again? It's like, damn, I just want to get out of here and make some money. Like, it's good for these guys at 300-1 because they're like, hey.
I'd be like, I better get like Super Bowl tickets for life out of this for you or something. Like, you know what I mean? I know your company's big. Like, I better like, you know what I mean?
You hope you're paired up with a guy from the NFL or
company for Verizon. You can hook me up with the CEO or something. Hey, like, slow my ass down out there.
It's true though. Like, would you not think, Brady, though? Like, when you're a dog like that, remember DA Points? Him and Bill Murray, I'm DA Points, and I got a Lego belt, and I'm winning at 180-1. Whereas all the guys who were favorites kind of like, oh, geez, I got to deal with this corporate turkey again in these tournaments, and Bill Murray with his antics blowing up golf balls with smoke. It's like, after a while, it's kind of like, if I was like just a guy that was on the edge, I'm like, hey, just crack some jokes, loosen up, and maybe you make some money. And that's why we see a lot of underdogs. I think those guys are like, I really don't care because I'm not as good as some of these chalk players, right?
Well, let me start off.
It's not their usual routine. So I think that's why you have some variance.
Yeah. Let me start off with a guy that actually hasn't won since the Players in 2023, and Scotty Scheffler. He's sort of been lingering. He's been knocking on the door. He's the favorite here, guys. He's at plus 550. Patrick Cantlay in the 9-1 range. Xander 11-1. Sungjae is 20. Tom Kim. Both those players are actually pretty trendy picks this week, I've noticed. Justin Thomas 22-1. Minwoo Lee 30-1. JT Poston 30-1. So let's throw it to Brady first here. Brady, who are you looking at this week?
Yeah, the shortest shot I took, I did jump on the Sungjae M train. I got him at 21. He's just been a machine here. He's played here 5 times, and he's finished top 20 every time, 4 out of the 5, top 15. You know, he does everything well. He can get the putter hot, and he's done very well at the correlated courses, TPC Summerlin, TPC Scottsdale. And the course history here specifically, I mean, the guy's never really flinched. And so, you know, if he's going to threaten a top 10 again, that's probably meaning that he's going to threaten a possible win once again. So I went with him as one. And, you know, he also comes off of a 5th place finish at the Century in Kapalua. And then he didn't play in the Sony. So I kind of like that he took a week off to refresh and, you know, restart and see what he can do here at the American Express. Then I went to Eric Cole, great putter, one of the best putters in this field, and he makes a ton of birdies. He leads a number of categories on the PGA Tour from last season as far as making birdies, and that's what you got to do here. And then I went a little bit deeper. You guys will like this one, a Canadian in Adam Hadwin, another guy that has an amazing track record here, a 6th place finish, a 3rd place finish, a couple of runner-ups. You know, he has been maybe the best player as far as course history in this field, and another guy that has a great short game and a hot putter. Finally, I went to Bo Hostler, or excuse me, I skipped over the Australian, Cam Davis. I was able to get him at 70-1. Nice. And I've seen him all the way down to 45 here at Circa in Las Vegas. So a lot of people apparently liking Cam Davis. He makes a lot of birdies. He's really good on the par fours, and he's been hot. He was very hot to end last season with 5 top 10 finishes in his final 7 starts. Played pretty well in Hawaii, had a couple of low outlier rounds. Shot a 62 to open the Sony. So I think his form is there. I think he's going to win once, maybe twice this season, and it could start this week. And then Bo Hostler, I mentioned at 80-1, another guy that was hot at the end of last season, carries a hot putter, seems to flourish in these birdie fest type situations. And then finally, this week's triple digit. Maybe we'll go 3 weeks in a row of triple digit winners. My guy is Eric Van Rooyen at 105-1, finished 6th here last year. And guys, you know what? I did make a late ad. I just bet him about an hour ago. I went with a little local Las Vegas flair. I added Taylor Montgomery as well, another guy with a tremendous short game that finished 5th here last year.
Brady Cannon kicking it with us. We'll get Cam's picks a little bit later on. We'll get into the National Football League as well. We'll make sure to get Brady's picks back up for everybody watching in sports bars, casinos, airports, wherever you may be. And for those of you on the radio, he's got Sungjae Im, Eric Cole, Adam Hadwin, Cam Davis, Bo Hostler, and Van Rooyen.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev. Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
Right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division favorite.
I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. There's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is Sports Rage. I am Gabriel Morency. The Wicked Wednesday continues. Sirius XM Channel 159, SportsGrid Radio and Television Networks. Talking about the American Express right now. I want to get to the NFL with Brady Cannon. There's also the Dubai tournament this week. So you've got a split field. There's some very good players playing in the Middle East as well. This is sort of Rory's stomping ground. And Rory's won here, been very, very successful here in the past. But Brady, I saw you on Twitter saying that, you're just focusing on the PGA Tour this week.
Yeah, I defer to our colleague here, Cam Stewart, for the expertise on the DP World Tour. I'm just about 99% focused on the PGA Tour, and I dabble in the European Tour a little bit here and there, but basically I listen to smart people like Cam. So, Cam, if you've got any advice on the DP World Tour, fire away, my friend.
That's a nice thing anyone's ever said to me. I got a few guys for you, actually. I like Hatton this week at 12-1. Gabe, I'll give you my picks a little bit later. But watch
dangerous,
for,
Brady. You're dangerous.
Yeah, very dangerous.
Go ahead.
Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Thank you. Thurston Lawrence at 40-1 looks good to me. Anyway, Gabe, we got to get into football. I'll give you my DP World Tour picks. I got a 4-pack for you. They don't deserve 6 like the PGA Tour. I got 4.
Just for the record, for the American Express, I like Adam Schenk, top 20, plus 320. And you know what? You're even getting plus 187 for top 30.
That's a good
pick. He's been a top 20 machine. He's played well. He's played in deep fields. So for me, plus 187, top 30, plus 320, top 20. That's my pick, Adam Schenk. And I'll throw a dart with a winner a little bit later on. But let's get into the National Football League right now. There's a lot of stuff going on. The Smack Talk has begun. The Texans and Ravens, though, there's no Smack Talk here. Texans are getting 9.5. That's the first game up. Brady, I'll update the weather right now, but the total is 43.5. What are your thoughts on this one? If you have any interest in betting this game.
It's interesting this week, Gabe. My power rating was the most off of the opening numbers in this game. I made it Ravens 6.5. I think I have the Texans rated higher than a lot of different people, and it's worked out for most of the year. I've made a lot of money on the Texans. And I also think at the same time, these spreads on the number 1 seeds that have had that bye week, the 49ers and the Ravens, I think they're probably a little bit inflated because, these are the 2 big bad boys in the NFL. They're obviously the number 1 seeds. They're the favorites to win the Super Bowl. And you have, teams like the Packers and the Texans that just pulled off upsets last week. So I think the numbers are a little bit inflated. I also think there's possibly some teaser protection in there. They don't necessarily want to be at 8.5 where everybody could just tease the favorite down. So, I don't want to lay the 9.5. I'm a little bit, afraid to take it. I basically took the point spread out of question here. I did tease the Ravens down on a 7-point teaser to 2.5, but I like it even better on a money line parlay. I money line parlayed it with the 49ers and the Detroit Lions. The last game, I think the underdog is absolutely live. Obviously, the spread is shorter. But I'm not going to run to the window and lay it with the 2 big favorites this week, San Francisco and Baltimore. But I do think they both win the game. The other thing is C.J. Stroud and Jordan Love, both of these guys have a very high ceiling. And they can come back and backdoor cover you in a heartbeat. These guys aren't going to lay down. So we've seen what they can do, especially Jordan Love as of late and C.J. Stroud really all season long. So I don't want to lay big numbers against those 2 guys that have so much upside, to get you late in the game with a late score. And, they can throw a touchdown at any minute. So I wanted to protect myself against that factor a little bit.
Weather will not be a factor on Saturday in Baltimore. 27 degrees, 16-mile-an-hour winds. Average football weather for this time of the year. So I think Houston catch a little bit of a break there. I find it interesting what you said there. I understand the numbers, but you're right. It seems to me that they have their mind made up on the number going in, and they don't care what happened going out. Because you can't tell me, Brady, that Green Bay is not a better football team now than they were a month ago, or they were 6 weeks ago. And they got no pop or love, and I thought they would. You know what I mean? I was thinking, all right, 8.5. Like, you really, I get that your number says this, but Aaron Jones didn't play most of the year. Are you considering that in your number? Are you considering that Jordan Love is getting better and better and turning into a star? Is that in the number? Right? It seems to me like, man, they just smoked them and it didn't matter. We're making it 9.5, 10. We don't care what they just did here. And I don't know. Maybe they're right, because I always get that feeling, well, these teams haven't played in a couple of weeks. Maybe they're not as good as we think they are. But generally, these top seeds do win and cover.
Well, actually, in the last 20 years or so, the number one seeds as favorites have only covered about 35% of the time. So this is kind of a week for underdogs.
In a divisional round? In a divisional round or overall?
Yeah, in the divisional round. And you could be right. You could be right about overall, but I think it's in the divisional round.
Yeah, like if you look at the Super Bowl winners, Brady, over the last 10 years, it's always one of the one seeds for the most part. With you have a little sprinkle in every couple of years. But one thing I'll throw out, and I'll throw back to you, is too, historic. I brought it up a million times last week. I was guilty of it. Rookie quarterbacks sucking in the playoffs. It seems like C.J. Stroud doesn't care that he's a rookie, right? The other one was, 7 seeds have never won before in the playoffs. Well, that was over. The Packers were a 7 seed, and they won. And they're playing with house money. Between the two dogs, between those two 9.5s, who would you rather take a shot with? Only if you were betting an underdog, Brady. Houston or Green Bay?
I think I would with Houston. They have continued to surprise, week in and week out. Everybody's kind of doubted them. I think their spreads have been a little bit short. Like I say, I think my ratings are higher on the Texans than a lot of other people, and they've exceeded expectations week in and week out. And C.J. Stroud just continues to amaze. Their running game is pretty decent. Both the Ravens and the 49ers have kind of slacked off defensively the last month or so of the season. If you look at how they're defending the run, how they're defending the pass, it hasn't been as good as it was. And I think that's kind of natural when you see yourself settling into that number one seed, a little bit of fatigue, you put it on cruise control a little bit. And then the Packers, such an incredible, I think that was absolutely the best game they've played all season. So I don't necessarily expect them to be able to repeat that performance. They'll probably fall off of that just a little bit. You mentioned Aaron Jones, and it's a good point. He's finally 100% healthy and in there for all the snaps as he was last week. That's a big deal. Their offensive line was outstanding against the pass rush of the Cowboys. So, I mean, if they're able to put that effort together again, they're going to be extremely competitive. But I think it's more likely that the Texans can put together a solid effort than it is for Green Bay to put out an over-the-top type effort. So if I was going to take either dog, I would probably play it with Houston. Lamar's history as a favorite and the Ravens and all that stuff. And like I said, you have these favorites in this divisional round. It's a little less, or it's a little above 40% that they actually cover these big numbers. And I think that's because they come into this week inflated because everybody's expecting that week off makes such a big difference. And it can, or it can come back to bite them, the rest versus rust deal.
I'm leaning with both underdogs, to be honest, guys, with both of them. I'm not sure they both end up getting smoked. And I think San Francisco, too, they need to prove it more. We were talking about it last night, Cam, which I said, the 49er fans, everybody, the media, talk about them like they're the 5-time defending champions or something. Oh, and then the Niners. They haven't done it. And I get it that Brock Purdy got hurt last year in a football game. But there's been a year before that and the years before that. And I brought it up, Brady, as far as Shanahan going back to the Super Bowl, up 28-3. Then they were up on the Chiefs, right? Like the Niners, they understand that. But if you look at their wins this year, I saw a debate online, and, they're not like some unbeatable, unstoppable force either. Like, I think Green Bay goes in there playing with house money. But then you get the Bills and the Chiefs, Brady. We got about 3 minutes with you here. So this is what Brady's doing. He's moneyline parlay, Ravens, 49ers, and the Lions. Then you got a 7-point teaser with the Ravens, the 49ers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. What are your thoughts on the Chiefs and the Bills game? And then quickly on the Bucs and the Lions, even though I know you've got the Lions in the moneyline parlay.
Yeah, I think, the Lions handled the Bucs pretty easily earlier this year, and that was on the road. And, we've seen Jared Goff be very good against the blitz in 2 outings against the Minnesota Vikings. We know how Brian Flores likes to blitz. He was 23 of 32 for over 300 yards, couple touchdowns, no interceptions when they met at home. And on the road, 30 of 40 for 257 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. And in that game against the Bucs, Baker Mayfield was awful. He threw a pick. He was like 19 of 37. Goff had another excellent game in that game, threw for over 300 yards. So, it seems to me like Jared Goff can handle this pressure that Todd Bowles likes to dial up. I don't know if the Lions are going to cover 6.5. That seems like a lot of points. I also worry about a letdown. They were so celebratory last week, and I don't blame them. The whole town, the fan base, the GM, everybody was loving the Lions. I hope they don't come down to earth a little bit off of that. I think they'll find a way to win the game. Kansas City and Buffalo, that's a wild one, Gabe. It seems that in the playoffs, no matter if it's at the home or road or whatever, the Chiefs have had the Bills' number. And I think the extra rest here for Kansas City versus the short rest for Buffalo could make a big difference.
Brady Cannon, catch him right here on the grid. Great stuff, Brady.
Thanks, guys.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev. Go run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
I
favorite.
don't care if they win because all we care about is the money, baby. The money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They, stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. There's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Shout out to our guy, Brady Cannon, for kicking it with us. UFC are hanging around right now. It's 31-26. 5.5 minutes left in the first half of play. I jumped in on the in-game over 159.5 as well in this game, and I was just thinking, this is going to be the last time. This is, and there's nothing really super sentimental about USC and Arizona and their basketball rivalry, but this is it, right? Like, yesterday I thought it was crazy when I saw the Big Ten Twitter account was tweeting the Washington Huskies press conference. And at first I was like, what do you guys care about the Washington Huskies hiring Jed Fish? And then I'm like, oh, yeah, you're a Big Ten team now.
It's crazy.
So they're in the Big Ten now, but the basketball season's being played out still. So, like, they have one last go around here at basketball. That'll be the more sentimental one, too, because Pac-12 football had a good season this year and stuff. But the Pac-12 is known, Pac-8, Pac-8, Pac-10, Pac-12. It's a basketball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the sentimentality of that being gone, it's going to be like, whoa, this is real right now. But Arizona's off to the Big 12. And USC is off to the Big 10. The end of the world as we know it has arrived. Paul Bovey steps up and in to join us. Let's do this thing, Bovey. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great, guys. How you doing? Good to see you, man.
Nice to see
Ready
you,
to
Paul.
rock, Bovey? My Buffalo Bills are still still playing, so I'm feeling all right. Michigan won the national championship. It's been a good run.
I know. Mason Rudolph had you on your heels, man. I mean, what happened there? I mean, God Almighty! If you don't get if you don't get that penalty on the extra point, a Miles Jack penalty and a 13-yard run, and Shakir doesn't dance into the end zone through raindrops, I mean, you're in trouble, buddy.
That's a lot of ifs. Yeah, we were in trouble, except that they won by double digits.
And thanks to Dick, too. Yeah.
It's a lot of ifs. But one thing, that's what I like about this Bills team, actually, is that every week you can say after the game, well, you know what, that was a problem, or this was this and that. Well, whatever. They've won 6 in a row right now. And you can win pretty, and it gives you a false sense of hope. Like I said, in past years, the Bills have come in with these gaudy numbers and stuff and fallen flat. So however they win each week, it doesn't matter. And something that wasn't brought up, I want to move forward, though, Paul, is there's all this talk. You know, the Bills were without 5 starters on defense in that game.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Miami Dolphins were without starters, and oh, my God, they don't have starters. The Buffalo Bills played without 5 starters on defense, and then they lost 2 guys in the game. They were actually –
Dotson played. Douglas played.
They were actually down. They were actually down 7 guys, like in game at one point, as to what their original or what their starting lineup is supposed to be. Rasul Douglas didn't play.
Cam Lewis guy. No, Douglas did not play. Klein is like a veteran who's on his couch. So they were missing all those guys.
I know, but Douglas missed like 9 games this year. He did. Okay, look.
He was on the Green Bay Packers. We acquired him at the trade deadline.
All right. All I'm going to say to you is this. I know.
No, I'm just telling you, the Buffalo Bills were without half their defense. You can pretend it's not true all you want.
No, it is true.
Whatever. I'm just telling you, it's true.
Listen, it's true. Listen. I have an affinity for Buffalo. You forget, I went to school by there in 1976, blizzard of 77. I was there, buddy. So I know what snow can do, snow can do. But the problem is this week, and let's talk about this week, because they won the game. I give them a lot of credit. They held on, did what they have to do. But coming up this week, you have 6 starters who could be out of the lineup. Now, I expect a few of them to play, but that's 102 starts during the regular season, 9 potential starts, 91 actually came to fruition, and they were in the lineup. So when you have Bernard out, or you have Dotson out, or one of these other cornerbacks out, I got to tell you, they got their work cut out for them. And I'm not against Buffalo. I'm just calling it the way it is.
No, I agree with you 1,000,000%. And I brought it up. I was live on the air with Pharrell during the game, and I said they're going to get picked apart by Kelsey and Mahomes over the middle of the field next week. Like, they don't have any bodies. They don't have any linebackers. They've got, like, DBs, nickel guys, practice roster guys. It's a problem. And then Taron Johnson gets hurt last week, who they need. So he's in a concussion protocol. Supposedly, it looked pretty good. Hopefully, they can squeeze him through the doctors and get him back out there. Rasul Douglas will be back this week. As far as Bernard is concerned, as you stated, and even the Spector kid, Paul and Cam, the Spector kid out of Clemson was suddenly contributing. He never played all year, and he was actually playing well. And then he got hurt. He was contributing late. Hopefully they get dialed up. And one thing is, though, nobody's really healthy at this time of the year, these teams. It's a war of attrition. It is what it is. Depth is real. But I do get the feeling that the Bills' offense needs to be better this week. And when I say better, I mean, listen, KC are going to score a bit. So, you know what, Josh? We're going to have to put some points up on the board. Like this, I know I've been talking about winning ugly and stuff, but the Bills' offense needs to click and be that, they're dialed in here right now, and outscore the Chiefs. Because I am concerned. I'm not going to lie, guys. And I'll throw it to you, Kev. I am very concerned about the Bills' secondary, Paul. I'm not going to deny that.
Yeah, no, Paul, you guys are both right. No, and it's going to be horrible. You, Gabe, it's a great point you bring up across the middle because that's where Kansas City is going to attack. But I will say this. The one feather in the cap for the Buffalo Bills, one of the only teams with their offensive line together the whole time. And it got really scary with McGovern going down, but he actually got okay in that game at the end. So that's vital. That is absolutely vital for the Bills in that stretch. I'm with you, Gabe, but I do believe this, and Paul knows too. Hey, Allen's going to take this team on his back. He's going to run. He's going to hurdle. He's going to pull a John Elway helicopter. He's going to do anything. It's going to be a classic game. It's just about Buffalo's defense getting a few stops in this game, and then we're going to have a classic. But Kansas City's going to get theirs, Bovey. We all know that. That's the problem. But hopefully some of those Bills guys could come back because I'd like to see Buffalo win.
Weather won't be a factor either. What's your opinion on the total there, Paul? It's 45.5 right now.
Well, I'll tell you what I played. I mean, and it feeds right into what you guys have been saying. First of all, I played Kelsey over 61.5. He's 9-8 to the high side of that number. I also played him over 6.5 catches plus 115. You can get 5.5 minus $1.55, minus $1.60. I took my chances. I think he's going to get 7 or 8. Kelsey is pointed.
He could have that on the first drive of the game.
You're right. He got 6 catches in the first drive.
Just for the record, I took Kelsey 5.5 last week in the last game, in the Cole game. He had 5 in the first half, and he dropped like 3 balls. He sailed over the number. They don't have anyone to throw it to. They're either going to throw it to him, and now Rashee Rice has come on. But that's it. That's all they have.
Exactly. Look, these guys can catch it out of the backfield, but I also played the Kansas City team total over 21.5. Look, I don't really want to bet against Josh Allen right now. He is, as Cam said, he's like a man possessed. He's focused. He's capable of playing a great game, which he did on Monday. It was Sunday, Monday, whatever the hell it is. But anyway, he played a great game and led him to victory. So give him credit. I just think Kansas City will score 23 to 26 points here. I think they're going to get theirs against the Buffalo defense, which is maligned right now because of these injuries. So I'm going that direction. I'm also going Pacheco over. Again, a cheap number at 61.5, which I took today, also up to 63.5. He's went over this 5 out of the last 7 games, and he seems to be getting right at the right time. Early on, he wasn't, but right now he's dialed in, and I think they'll be able to run the football, as did the Steelers to some degree, against these Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, the Steelers did have success on the ground. You're right. All right, Tampa Bay and Detroit. We talked about this game just quickly with Brady. We didn't really get into it too much. He had the Lions in teasers and moneyline parlays. Baker Mayfield's 9-3 against the spread this year as an underdog. And he's been on quite the run here, and it's not always pretty. They're getting 6.5, but this total is right now, it's at 48.5. And, the Bucs aren't known for playing in high-scoring games, Paul, but I get the feeling that this one could be some points. I think Baker and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to surprise people that they're going to be able to move the ball on Detroit. I'm not saying Detroit won't be able to move the ball on them. Everybody's like falling in love with the Lions. Yeah, they won last week. They didn't cover for the record, right? The Rams did cover the number. What's your take on this? Because people want to crown the Lions' ass. I think the Bucs are live coming into this game.
Sentimentality does not cash tickets. It's not going to get you rich. Sentiment is on the side of the Lions. But let me tell you something about the Lions. The last 4 games, the leading receivers of the opposition have hauled in 40 grabs out of 51 attempts for 741 yards. That's
what I'm
average.
saying. Now you got Godwin and Mike Evans rolling in.
Exactly. That's an average of 15.4 yards an attempt. Now you got 2,000-yard receivers and also Cade Otton against a team that is lousy against the tight ends. Now, they did all right against the Rams. Why? Because Higbee was injured coming in, and they interchanged him with Skoranek, who's a blocker. He only has 8 catches this year, and a guy by the name of Davis Allen, a rookie, who pulled in 2 for 28 yards.
Yeah. And then they clipped Higbee low, too.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember they took him out low.
Yeah, it's a shame because they were very guarded with Higbee, and then he gets hurt. But in the previous games, they were carved up by Johnny Munt, who was the second leading receiver in that last game of the season. This after Hawkinson got hurt in the 2 games prior to that. He had 4 receptions for 58 yards in 1.5 and 2 minutes of football as he got injured early in the third quarter. So I'm just saying this is a team not good against the tight ends. You have to defend the tight end, and you have to defend 2,000-yard receivers. And if you look at Tampa Bay or Detroit, in the last 10 games, they've allowed teams more than 21.5 points on 7 occasions. One of those that they did not was against the Broncos, totally legit. But the other 2, against Minnesota, last game of the season, Vikings without 3 offensive linemen. Nick Mullins still passes for 393, late turnover. It stays under the 21.5. And then you had a situation with Dallas leaving points off the board. CeeDee Lamb, 13 receptions, 227, but he fumbled one into the end zone and out, resulting in a touchback. So I went Tampa Bay team total over here, leading into what you like. I like points here. This Detroit defense is lousy. They're not good, and they're going to have to outscore Tampa Bay to win this game. I think Tampa Bay gets, again, 23 to 27 points here, and this turn into a track meet.
Cam, you liked the Lions last week. They survived. They won the game. What do you think about them this week?
I like the Bucs. I told you, like right now, I'm looking at these teams. I like the Bucs. The Packers, Gabe, I tell you, I'm going to take the points. The Ravens are the one favorite that I like. I want the Bills, as Paul said, sentimental. It's not going to pay bills, but hey, maybe they'll get some guys back. But I do really like the Bucs to cover this number.
This is SportsRage.
Quarterback at quarterback. We're going to lay some juice. We're going to have some dog prices, and we're going to go right in the middle.
Because I don't know what they're doing. To me, they're in a complete rebuild, Kev. Go run, run, run. That's where overbackers on this 51.5 shot.
So right now, he's a little bit more over money, but it's hovering right around.
The winner of this game will be the division
favorite. I don't care if they win, because all we care about is the money, baby, the money.
Pro Football Today. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Last year, the Purdue Boilermakers upset by the 16 seed Fairleigh Dickinson. Is history going to repeat itself?
Purdue is capable of winning 6 games in the NCAA tournament, but the fact is, until Purdue proves that it's capable of not just advancing, but advancing far in the bracket in March, this is going to be the storyline. And I've said that to you throughout the offseason.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
I really thought the Lions were going to blow out the Rams. And in the first half, I was like, all right, I got one right here on this one. And then the Lions, what happened, Jacob? They stopped playing.
The Lions offense is more of a complete unit right now because they have a really strong run game. And I know Tampa's run defense is good too, but all they need is David Montgomery and Jameer Gibbs to do a little, and that'll open things up for Jared Goff.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
And I tell you what, there's 1,000,001 coaching vacancies right now. Brady Cannon is a candidate for the Vegas Raider job. Like there's so many jobs available right now. NFL teams are coming to the grid for our talent. So there's that many head coaching spots available right now. I'm going to submit my resume.
SportsRage Late Night, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. Let's do this thing. We're kicking it with Paul Bovey. The Big E, Eric Cohen is going to step up and in. Bill's Mafia will be repping. But I do believe this, and I love what Paul was talking about with the Travis Kelce. It's almost automatic. The Bills have had a hard time with Kelce as well, dealing with him. Like, the Bills are weakened over the middle of the field. The Bills are going to be very concerned about giving up the big play as well. The way McDermott operates, that's the way he is. He's going to be worried about giving up the big play. They're going to get killed underneath with the dink and dunks to Kelce all day long. Love the 5.5. Don't mind the alt at 6.5 as well. One thing I will say, Paul, about the Buffalo Bills defense, with all the injuries at the back end and the linebackers not being great and stuff, they've suddenly got a pass rush going. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, Russo out of Miami, the Miami Hurricane, he's suddenly good. You know what I mean? He was always sort of, man, good play, but can you do that again? Now he's like, yeah, I could do it again. And he's doing it again. Espinez is a good player. Like, they've got these draft picks from like 3 years ago and stuff that have taken a little while. They're suddenly making plays. Like, they're getting to quarterbacks. They're very good at batting balls in the air right now as well. So It's going to be a freaking battle. I personally think, guys, and Paul said it, the difference right now is the Bills as a whole, and it's just there's a different feeling to this. They were entitled before. Everybody thought they were going to win. And, like, you know what I mean? Oh, they're great. He's in commercials and all this. He's got a hot girlfriend. He's making $250 million. They've been humbled, right? Now it's like, no, guys, we got to win. Don't worry about the outside noise and, like, just win the effing game. And Josh Allen right now, Paul, the guy's willing to run through a brick wall. And I think the players on the team are willing to run through a brick wall for him, too. I saw Mitch Morse on McAfee show, and he said that everybody on the line when Josh ran for the touchdown were yelling at him, slide, get down. and he ran for the touchdown, and they were all like, oh, great job, Josh. Right? And they said that happens all the time. We're like, no, and he does something.
Like a damn horse.